YouTube, what is going on? It is your boy Young Mustard, and I am back with a different type of video. Yes, I am starting my weekly NBA reviews. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, and if you're not, you better go follow me on Twitter. I actually informed everybody about a week ago or a few days ago that I was going to start doing these. Now, the way this works is that we're going to have 5 segments where we talk about 5 things that happened during this week, and then we're going to conclude it with 2 special segments. One of the segments being the player of the week, and the other segment will be the play of the week. Now, I will say I did not start this idea. Many YouTubers do this. SDC does this every day. If I could, I would do that every day, but I just can't do it. SDC, shout out to him because he is probably the YouTube GOAT when it comes to this kind of thing, because this man non-stop hustles every day. He just puts in work that is unimaginable. But shout out to SDC. He has definitely influenced these type of YouTube videos. But without further ado, guys, let's get on with this video, and let's start off with this first segment. Eric Bledsoe has been traded, man. Thank God. Now, if you have kept up with my channel and you've seen my video where I talked about 5 NBA players who need to be traded, Eric Bledsoe was on that list. For years, I've been saying that he needs to be traded from the Suns because the Suns aren't going anywhere. I mean, they had that little point Guardians of the Galaxy where they had Isaiah Thomas, Goran Dragic, and Eric Bledsoe. They tried that, and I understand that, you know, sometimes they were in contention to make the playoffs, but I never really saw that working out. The combination of injuries, the organization not using him the right way, I mean, it just never led to anything. I mean, when you look at last season, towards the end of the year, he was benched because they said they wanted to focus on their younger assets. So that basically means you're not a part of the future. The future is Devin Booker, you know, Tyler Ulis, Marquise Chris, Dragan Bender. Hopefully he doesn't become a bust because he looks like that right now. They basically told him, you're not a part of the future plans. You can play, but you're not a part of it. They benched him, which is really, really sad. But at the end of the day, Eric Bledsoe makes the Bucks better. Now, I don't think that the Suns lost the trade necessarily because they kind of had to trade him. And let's just be real, he's not a part of the future plans. They got a 1st round pick, a 2nd round pick, and they got Greg Monroe. Even though I do think they should have got Brogdon, where I will give John Hurst a huge thumbs up. This man managed to keep Brogdon and Maker, or McCord, whatever his name is pronounced. He managed to keep those players, and I think, you know, he deserves a big props. He has Brogdon still. He still has Maker. Giannis is always going to be a beast. Adding Bledsoe, because Greg Monroe's contract was a bit too much. I do think he is overpaid, and his game, I mean, let's just be real, he's just a post player. He doesn't really do much. His defense isn't really that much. So when it comes to this team, they definitely have gotten better. I also understand that one of the best things about this team is that they're tall and long, but Bledsoe does have a really, really good wingspan, a really long wingspan for someone of his height, and he's a really, really good perimeter defender. He can score. He can go out there and get you 26 and 5. He's done that. He did that last year, and I think he can do that here. So also, when you factor in that Jabari will be coming back later in the season towards the playoffs, I mean, a Jabari, Eric Bledsoe, Giannis team, that's really, really good. And hopefully Maker develops, because I think that if Maker can develop into who we think he can be, and if he can just develop into that just a little bit by the playoffs, this team will be very dangerous. And also, when you consider they got Brogdon still, they also have Chris Middleton, Dellavedova's coming off the bench. This team has a lot of pieces. I mean, if everything goes right, they can make the conference finals and push the Cavs to 7 games. Or, you know, if they have to face the Cavs before, they will probably lose in the 2nd round. But definitely they should get to the 2nd round. They should not be losing in the 1st round. I expect them to be a top 3 or a top 4 seed. If they're a 5th seed, I guarantee you, Giannis, man, you're not winning MVP, okay? But if they're a top 3 seed and they can manage to win 50 games or plus, they can be a really, really solid contender in the Eastern Conference, and Giannis can push that MVP, you know, candidacy even forward, because I think Giannis is not the MVP of the season right now. I'm sorry, he's not even in my top 2 candidates, but we'll get to that later. Eric Bledsoe was traded to probably the best team available. I think this was a good pickup for the Bucks. They got better clearly. They got rid of a overpaying contract, and they got rid of picks that I understand probably would have helped them, but let's just be real, they didn't need them really, and they're still a top contender in the Eastern Conference. So shout out to Jon Horst for keeping pieces such as Malcolm Brogdon and Maker, because this is really going to help the Milwaukee Bucks moving forward. Devin Booker needs help immediately, and Greg Monroe is not the help that I'm talking about. I'm talking about legitimate help. Now I'm going to call out Marquese Chriss, because Marquese Chriss, I expected you to take a leap this season, but you've done quite the opposite because you haven't been showing up at all. I thought you were going to be someone who, you know, Devin Booker could depend on, but no, dude, you haven't. Now let me just show you guys the numbers. This year you're averaging nearly 7 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist. Come on, bro. I mean, come on, bro. I understand that you've only started in 10 games out of the 13, but there's a reason you didn't start in the other 3 games. You went from 9 points last year to 7 points? Come on, bro. And then when you consider the fact that you ain't even that efficient, you shooting under 40% from the field, that is pathetic, bro. You've got to step up. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Completely unacceptable, bro. I thought you were going to get better, but it looks like you've just taken a step back and you've gotten worse. I mean, Jesus Christ. You were supposed to be the guy that I thought could have been a dark horse to win Most Improved, if I'm being honest, but I guess I was wrong, because Devin Booker, he is struggling. This man has put up over 30 points on 4 separate occasions, and on those 4 occasions, they've lost each and every game except for one against the Brooklyn Nets. And the game that they even beat the Brooklyn Nets, they won by 8. So it's pretty obvious that this team is heavily dependent on Devin Booker, and that's why he does have games where he turns the ball over 6 times or 4 times. I mean, that is unacceptable, don't get me wrong, but when you literally just have one person who is a threat, that is just pathetic. They're going to zone in on that guy, and it's going to be very hard for him to be efficient or for him not to turn the ball over on multiple occasions. I mean, this team is too dependent on him. Now, I understand that they just got Greg Monroe, but what is that really going to change? Because let's be real, they're still going to run their offense through Devin Booker, and Josh Jackson needs to develop a bit more. Their coach is basically non-existent. I thought Earl Watson was a horrible coach. Thank God the man was fired. I mean, this team really just needs a coach. I think that if they can get a really good coach, I mean, they can go a lot of places. I mean, I thought that Tom Thibodeau would have been a good person to coach them, especially with them getting Josh Jackson. Devin Booker needs to improve on the defensive side of the ball. So it's pretty obvious that this team does need a coach, but they need a lot more as well. They need players to step up. Marquese Chriss has to step up. Tyler Ulis as well has to step up. Dragan Bender, you better step up this year, because right now you're looking like a bust, and I mean an absolute bust. But I mean, at the end of the day, Devin Booker, keep doing you, keep balling. And I understand it is hard, because I don't like to see players struggle. As much as people enjoyed watching Russell Westbrook get those triple doubles, when he wasn't winning, I was not enjoying it, because I don't like it when players put up great numbers but it doesn't lead to wins. That's why I don't like watching the Suns play, even though I am going to enjoy Devin Booker putting up good numbers. But if he's not winning, that just frustrates him even more. And if you're putting up good numbers and they don't lead to wins, then they're basically dead stats. And I don't want Devin Booker's career to be labeled as a dead stat player. So Phoenix Suns, get that man some help, get some more draft picks, and keep surrounding Devin Booker with sufficient and proficient talent, please. How can the Celtics still stay afloat? Which I know a lot of people are going to be asking, because if this injury is a concussion, I expect Kyrie to be out for about 2, maybe even 3 weeks. Now, I do think their winning streak was going to come to an end anyway, because if you look at the next few games that they have on their schedule, even though they do play the Nets next Tuesday and they play the Hawks next Saturday, but they play the Raptors tomorrow and they also play the Warriors on Thursday. So I believe even if Kyrie played, I mean, they would have lost to the Raptors, and I think they would have definitely lost to the Warriors. And then later on, some of these other games, I think they're winnable even without Kyrie, because when you look at them, they got the Nets coming up, the Hawks, the Mavericks, the Heat, the Magic, which I understand the Magic have been looking pretty good, the Pacers, the Pistons have been looking good as well, the Sixers, Suns, Bucks. And when they play the Bucks and the Suns, it's already in December, which I think Kyrie will be back by then. So even if this is a concussion, I think the Celtics will be fine. It's not like they're going to, completely lose each and every single game. I mean, they beat the Hornets and Kyrie didn't even play, which is amazing. I'm not saying the Hornets are a phenomenal team. I mean, they are 5-7, but Dwight Howard's having a really, really good year, which I think people are sleeping on. Kemba Walker is still having a good year, as always. I mean, are we going to expect anything less from Kemba Walker? So it's obvious that the Hornets have some pieces that could beat the Celtics even if they had Kyrie. Now, I understand that with Kyrie, they obviously would have beat them, but without Kyrie, I mean, I kind of question if they could do it, but they managed to get the job done. Rozier stepped up with 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. Larkin stepped up with 16. Tatum had 16. Morris had 14 and 7 rebounds. Also, Baines had 7 rebounds. Jaylen Brown had 10 points and 13 rebounds. Smart stepped in with 8 points. So this team, when they work collectively as a unit, they play some really, really good basketball and they could beat some teams. Now, at the end of the day, do they need Kyrie to make the playoffs? Absolutely. They are not going to make the playoffs if Kyrie was out for the whole season, but I don't think it's that serious, so let's relax. Kyrie will be back before December. I think even if it is a concussion, I don't think it's that serious of one. I think it's just a little concussion, like a mild one. I don't think it's a heavy one. But at the end of the day, they need Kyrie to make the playoffs, but his injury isn't that severe to where they should be worrying about not making the playoffs. So hopefully Kyrie gets better. Let's move on. Lonzo. My God, Lonzo. Now, I know a lot of people are expecting me to come up here and probably say I was wrong about Lonzo Ball, but no, I'm not going to come up here and say that, because I think Lonzo still has a lot of potential to perhaps one day be the best point guard in the league. I mean, if Jason Kidd could do it, then Lonzo definitely could. But I will say this, bro, you're not even in the top 5 race for the Rookie of the Year. I'm sure people should know that. You have Ben Simmons, Markkanen's up there, Kuzma's up there, Dennis Smith Jr.'s up there. Hell, De'Aaron Fox, I'll take him as a rookie right now over Lonzo Ball in terms of how they're playing. Kuzma's playing better than you. I mean, this is just unacceptable. Lonzo Ball, you're averaging 9 points and you're shooting under 30% from the field. You're shooting 22% from 3. You're also shooting 50% from the free throw line, which is also unacceptable. I mean, this guy is not aggressive at all. And people tell me that, oh, but he's a playmaker. He's not a scorer.
He's not. We drafted him as a playmaker, not a scorer. If he wanted to score, we would have kept him.
Okay, let me ask this.
Okay, is that an excuse from shooting 3 for 15 every game?
Exactly. Stop. That's not an excuse.
But okay, all right.
My issue with that is just because you're a playmaker, that doesn't give you an excuse to be shooting under 30% from the field, and also doesn't give you an excuse to not even be averaging at least 10 points. I mean, that is just unacceptable. When you look at all the great playmakers, they were still aggressive. This guy is not aggressive at all. Not saying he's a bust, not saying he's not going to have a successful career, not saying he's not going to be a good player, but he needs to improve badly, because Magic traded D'Angelo for this guy. He gave up D'Angelo for him. He gave him the keys to Showtime, and so far he has failed to live up to those expectations. And I'm not saying that he needs to go out there and have a Magic Johnson type rookie year and win the finals MVP, but You gotta do better than shooting under 30% from the field and only averaging 9 points. It's unacceptable for anybody. I don't care if you're a playmaker. It's still unacceptable. James Harden is the MVP right now. I'm sorry. It's not Giannis. It's not Kyrie. It's James Harden. And it's so funny how James Harden's MVP candidacies work. He puts up great numbers, but there's always something about him that doesn't really help his case. When you look at 2015, he had the numbers, but he didn't have the wins as Steph Curry had. And then when you look at 2017, he had the numbers, he had the winning, but he didn't have the storyline that Russell Westbrook had, and he didn't make history by averaging a triple-double. Now we have this year where he has the story of Chris Paul being out, and he's still leading them to wins. He has the numbers, and like I said before, he has the wins. Because as we are 12 games in, they have only lost 3 games, and this man is averaging pretty good numbers, as he's averaging just under 30 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, shooting 45.7% from the field, and shooting 41% from 3. This man is ballin', man. He is ballin'. And if you haven't seen my man B-Soul's video on why James Harden could steal the MVP, y'all click on the right hand top part of the screen and you will see that video. Click on it and watch it, because it basically explains everything that I am about to say right now, in that James Harden has all the factors that Giannis just does not have. Giannis, yes, he has the stats, but he's not winning. He's 5-6. He is not even in the playoffs right now. And what storyline does he really have? I mean, I understand Jabari's out, but what storyline really does Giannis really have? I mean, when you look at James Harden, he has winning down. His stats are just as good, if not even more impressive, because he's winning. And then when you look at the storyline, Chris Paul is out and he's still winning. This is the guy who's been snubbed multiple times of the MVP for hypocritical reasons, but at the end of the day, he's still going out there and he is balling. Because if this man can secure a top 3 seed, especially when you consider the fact that yes, Chris Paul is going to come back sooner or later, and they're only going to get better. Because let's just look at opening night, and I understand that is a small sample size, but on opening night, he had 27 points, 11 assists, and 6 rebounds, and they beat the Golden State Warriors, and Chris Paul was playing, by the way. So it's pretty obvious that James Harden can do this with or without Chris Paul. He's done it with him in opening night, and he's doing it right now without him. And I think they're only going to get better when they add Chris Paul, so the winning is going to stay consistent. So I think personally James Harden is having a better season than Giannis. He's putting up, if not just as good, but better numbers than Giannis, and I think that he right now is the #1 candidate for the 2018 MVP. Now when it comes to the play of the week, I gotta give it to my man De'Aaron Fox, because De'Aaron Fox, man, he is having a really good rookie year. He has proven me a bit wrong, even though I did say he had John Wall potential, but I did see a lot of Elfrid Payton written all over him, especially with his jump shot. But speaking of his jump shot, it wasn't a 3, but it was a little midi, you know what I'm saying? Wet right there, the game winner versus Philly. I give him mass props. This season he has been balling, averaging 12 points, 4 rebounds, and just under 6 assists. Give De'Aaron Fox his props. This man has been balling, and he should be in the top 5 candidates for the Rookie of the Year, because he definitely deserves all the props in the world. Shout out to De'Aaron Fox for that game winner and earning the spot of this week's Play of the Week. Now the Player of the Week has to be James Harden. I'm sorry, I understand that I've been on this man basically the last part of the video, but I gotta give him props again, because this week, I mean, he had a really good week this week. I mean, he had a 50-point game against Utah where he had 56 points, 13 assists, 2 rebounds, also shot 76% from the field. That is ridiculous. ridiculous and took 8 3-pointers and made 7 of them, which is 87.5% from 3. One of the biggest knocks on James Harden is that he isn't that efficient, but that game he was ridiculously efficient. I mean, think about it, 56 points on 76% field goal shooting, and he's a guard who takes threes, and he also shot 87.5% from 3, and from the free throw line 91.7%. I mean, come on, bro, that is just ridiculous. And also against Cleveland, he had a triple-double where he had 35 points. He also had a block, 5 steals, 13 assists, 11 rebounds. This man balled. He did everything that he had to do, and he also shot 42.9% from 3 on 14 3-pointers attempted. So this man this week went off and went ballistic, and they won those 2 games. So it's pretty obvious that this man has to be not only the MVP like I said earlier, but the player of the week. Shout out to James Harden. You well deserve this, man. Alright you guys, so if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comment section, and also smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell next to my name to be notified after each and every video that I post. And guys, I would like to know your feedback and your response. Do you like me doing these weekly reviews? If you don't, let me know. Comment that down below. So without further ado, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, add me on Snapchat. We out. Peace.
Money fall on you. Banana fall on you, Prada fall on you, cause I'm in love with you. Money fall on you, banana fall on you, paparazzi follow you, cause I'm in love with you. Are you done talking?